of anything they have to offer me, right? It's like, get over yourself, Mark. You've got to.
I believe if we could be indivisible, we would be indestructible. And
hype after this. I don't mean to ask you to put you on the spot to say, tell us what's going to happen in the future, but tell us what's going to happen in the future.
Good.
All right, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Keep Leading Live. I'm Eddie Turner, and Keep Leading Live is dedicated to leadership development and insights. I work with leaders to accelerate performance and drive impact through the power of executive coaching, masterful facilitation, and professional speaking. We are streaming live today on LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube. I don't always see everybody's name that comes through, but I definitely invite you to tell us where you're at in the chat. We welcome you to be a part of this conversation. Ask any question that you would like. And this session especially has attracted the attention of people from all over the world. At last count, I had 15 countries. People are joining from Botswana, Brazil, Canada, Chile, Greece, Helsinki, India, multiple places in India, Kazakhstan, Kenya, Malaysia, Philippines, multiple places there, Singapore, South Africa, United Kingdom, United Arab Emirates, and even Munster, Indiana. Very close to where I grew up at. And I don't know who it is, but I saw that come through, and that was absolutely exciting. So thank you for letting us know that you're here. In fact, we have a couple people that are letting us know. Welcome, Pritesh. Welcome, Mary. Yes, Mary, we're excited to have you. And we've got Nazgul, if I'm pronouncing that properly. She's coming in from Kazakhstan. Very good. New Delhi. Sumit, thank you for letting us know that you're here. And Gian is coming in from Yonkers. We are so excited to have you. And yay, Indiana. Indeed, Mary. Hit the share button, folks, if you would be so kind to share this to your network so folks can be a part of our conversation. And if they miss it, they'll see it in the in their feed later on to be able to watch it. Now, I normally have a long introduction for my guests so that my audience knows the value of who I am interviewing. My guest today needs no introduction. My guest today has caused such a stir that you all have come in from all over the world, literally, for my guest today. She's only the second person who I've interviewed as a repeat guest on the show. And in full disclosure, I'm not just a fan of hers. I've hired her to be my coach. And so she's been my coach. And she's the person that even though I was a certified coach, I was trained, I wasn't trained properly. So she got me up to speed. My guest today is none other than the world-renowned Dr. Marcia Reynolds, MCC, Master Certified Coach. And so for the one or two people who may have joined us from around the world who may not know who she is, allow me to say just a couple of brief words before I ask her to introduce herself. Dr. Marcia Reynolds is the world's #1 ranked female coach by Global Gurus. She is one of the people who founded the International Coaching Federation and went on to serve as the 5th global president of the ICF. And later on in 2017, she went back to serve on the international board, continuing to put her stamp on the direction of the coaching profession around the world. She's been inducted into the ICF Circle of Distinction, a very prestigious accomplishment. She's quoted everywhere, a number of publications, the New York Times, Psychology Today, Fast Company, just to name a few. She's a prolific writer and author, and she's authored 4 best-selling books. They're right behind me. And today we'll talk about her latest one that was just released a month ago, Breakthrough Coaching, Creating Light Bulb Moments in Your Coaching Conversations. Dr. Marcia Reynolds, welcome to Keep Leading Live.
Thank you, Eddie. It's always a delight to see you.
I am so excited to have you here. I am just a tremendous fan of your work, obviously. I've learned so much from you. Please tell people anything that I may have left out that you want them to know about you and your work.
Eddie, I had been a seeker and a student of learning for decades. It was an accidental career that I ended up in a training department in a company, and I had to do the management training when I was in my 20s. And ever since then, I'm like, what does it really take to change people's minds, to get them to see the world differently as well as themselves? And I got another master's degree to figure it out. I kept changing and going to workshops. And it wasn't until the day I resigned from my last corporate job that somebody sent me this article on coaching. I went and I watched a demo and I was instantly hooked. I said, that's it. That's the secret to truly change minds and lives. The power of coaching is what keeps me so passionate.
And you are passionate about coaching, and it just comes through in everything you do. And we can just see how your face lights up as you talk about it. And it sounds like this has been deeply gratifying for you.
Well, because I am still always seeking, okay, I learned how to coach, but there's got to be even a better way we can do it. And so as I deepen my understanding of what it is we're really doing with coaching and how to go deeper quickly with clients, that I can see the changes in their face. And, it's like, they just come alive, and the difference it makes for them. And then knowing that if I'm doing this one person at a time, I'm still making a difference in the world, because it just goes out that way. So it helps me to keep my spirit uplifted, to continually uplift the spirit of others.
And you continue to uplift the spirit of others through producing new knowledge. As you go on this research and even your doctoral studies, you continue to bring this forward to people, and each book just gets better and better. And so I want to just let folks know just how powerful this work is. The book, of course, as we said, is coaching, Breakthrough Coaching, Creating Light Bulb Moments in Your Coaching Conversation. You can get that, of course, at your favorite bookstore. And I met you when you invited me to be a part of a program that was, I thought, only for MCCs. And that's when I really got just a tremendous amount of training from you and Dr. Siminovich there. We had a fantastic time. And a couple of these people in here have gone on, including our dear friend Teresa back there, to get her MCC as a result of this program and your coaching. And then later on, I did another program with you all. And then it cascaded to this program that you ran around the world for 2 years with people who went through this program, but Breakthrough Coaching. And then you took all that and boiled it down to a book so that not just that select audience could get it, but that the world could get it. So tell us more about the Breakthrough Coaching book.
Yeah. Well, that program, the first programs that we put online, and now they're self-study online at coaching.com, was really based on Coach the Person, my last book, which just blew up around the world. Every day on LinkedIn, somebody's posting a picture of them with one of my books, and that's just so exciting to me. But as I teach and mentor and work with coaches, there's always things that I see that they're doing well, and then I see what's missing. And so I write my books based on, this is what you're not doing. And this is what needs to happen to really get those results. So the breakthrough coaching book, we did start that next level of training in breakthrough coaching, and then we took that to some more advanced levels. It was that I was talking to coaching.com, and we decided, why don't you create a new book? If you look in the back of the book, there's a page that talks about my programs with them, and we will create a new advanced program based on what you have discovered since the last book that coaches should know, should integrate into their practice, that will make a huge difference in what they do as a coach. So I agreed to do that, and then we just did the inaugural, by invitation only, program of the Mastery. It's a 3-week program. We're just finishing it. It turned out awesome. I can't wait to offer that to the public in July.
Outstanding. So in July, folks have an opportunity to do a deeper dive into the coaching, their coaching skills with you. And that's an interesting, because you're one of the few people that really works hard. Your audience is almost exclusively, when you're not coaching executives, other coaches. And that's why people refer to you as the coach's coach.
Yeah. Well, Eddie, it's one of those things that we're often called to do what we do, but we often don't hear the calling. And for years it was like, I do coaching, and I teach coaches and I do leadership, and it was like all over the place. And when I finally decided, let me do what, like there is this river running through everything I do that has to do with coaching, but part of the river flows really smoothly. And that was all my work directly with coaches. And I said, let me let go of the other things and just focus on the work I do together to a new level, because I believe in the power, the impact of coaching that can bring us all together, that it not only makes us feel good, but that it expands conscious awareness and connections on this planet. I truly believe that. And so I want to go deeper. I want to take coaches deeper. So as soon as I chose that niche, that narrowed it down to the flowing part of the river, everything took off. So that's where it comes in.
And now that you have done that and you continue to share this knowledge, and you're working with so many coaches around the world in numerous languages. By the way, Coach the Person, Not the Problem is not only an international bestseller, but how many languages is that in now?
It's 7, and we're negotiating for the 8th right now. And one of the biggest ones, people kept asking me for the Spanish. We finally got a Spanish publisher who looks like it's gonna buy the rights. So then it'll be 8 languages. Yeah.
Outstanding. Congratulations, Marcia. So many more people benefit and be able to be more effective coaches as a result. Yeah. So as you're continuing to spread your knowledge, disseminate it, and people are able to make adjustments and be more effective for themselves and their clients, what is one, because I know there's probably many, what's one area that you see coaches continuously making errors in?
Yeah. Well, it was something that I was not trained on as a coach. And Eddie, I know you'll appreciate this, because I want you all to know that what was so special about Eddie was that he let me beat him up all the time. It's like, Eddie, no, don't do that. And what was so great is that Eddie learned so quickly. He's like, okay, then how do I do it better? He's so into his development, and it was so delightful, Eddie, to work with you, that you would just take my craziness like, no, and then adapt it right away. And the thing I beat you up on the most is what really I'm often focusing on, is making sure that you know exactly what is it that the client truly really wants to change or to create in their situation, but in themselves. And in breakthrough coaching and in my current training, I go even deeper into identity formation and identity shifting. Because if I change who I think I am or who I am becoming, then my behavior just changes. So, like, even when I work with leaders, I never talk to them about what they're doing to engage people. I start by saying, define leadership to me. Let's talk about how you see what a leader's supposed to be and who are you in that moment. And then we start looking at, what about the people around you? How would they define it? What would they want most from you? And look at the gap. It has, and can you step in, release being the expert, the know-it-all, as the CEO of Microsoft says, instead of being the know-it-all, can you be the learn-it-all? And who would you be as a leader if you were the learn-it-all? And so that shift in identity is so critical. But you have to know also where to put it in. And there has to be a picture of what it is I want to create before you say, so who are you in that picture?
Absolutely, absolutely. And yes, Marcia, you did beat me up quite a bit, and that just says something about who you are. Because there's a few people that sit my ego aside for, but I humbly submitted myself to you. And there's another area you would get on me about, and I actually share this when I'm working with other coaches and doing teaching, whatever. I share this all the time. You would always say to me, Eddie, get out of your head. That question came out of your head. And you worked with me on that. So when you in the book you kind of covered this a little bit. So talk about that. What happens when a coach is going from a script or they're using canned questions?
Well, that, Eddie, I always say thinking's the enemy of the coach. That the moment you go in your head, you're taking away from your presence, and the presence, that energetic connection that we make. That when you start thinking, you're breaking the connection. And can you get it back? It's not for sure. And why bother? Because once you're coaching, you have to trust you know what you're doing. I don't care if you just know a few things, like Thomas Leonard told me. I don't care if you know your skills, just go love them. Bring that energy. I'm here for you. I believe in you. I have faith that you will figure this out. And I'm just going to help you think. So the moment you go in your head, and I'm not a fan of note-taking, because even note-taking uses a different part of the brain, and you're not present. And that's when I notice coaches miss that little statement that the person put in on the side, that, or they mumbled under their breath. You will miss that. You will miss that. That, what was it yesterday? She said, yeah, but I had all these rules that I grew up with, and so when I look at the future and I'm afraid of going forward, and I said, there's the key right there. All the rules that I grew up with, but she said it so quickly under her breath. You would miss it if you were in your head. And as a mentor, I can see it, and you could too. I mean, when the coach is like thinking, it's evident, but it's evident to your and because they're giving you're receiving their words, their expressions, their energy, and then just offering back for them to consider.
Now, Marcia, I'm going to ask you just to pause for just a second. I don't know if it's just me, but I think you're chopping up on me just a tad. So I just want to repeat what you said in case it's not just me and others. Sounds like I hear you coming back. You're back now. Yeah, you're back now.
Okay.
So you said that thinking is the enemy of the coach. And you went on to talk about the fact that you don't want people rehearsed. You want people to be present. And when you said that, it reminded me of one of the most, I don't use the word transformational often, but that session I showed earlier that I attended with you, it was transformational for me. And I walked away with tons of knowledge, tons of changes, including the stop writing notes. I was taking notes until I met you.
Yeah, that's right.
And then the idea that you said, if nothing else, that becoming a master certified coach in MCC, we should be that long before we get the credential. You said that mastery is more about the deepening of our presence and less about skills.
Right.
And I just thought that was incredible.
Right. Well, and that comes back to what you said about, trying to remember the good question or the formula that you should be coaching from your presence, what they're giving you through presence, and not from your memory.
Yes. Beautiful. Well, I want to just pause and acknowledge a couple of people, if I may. Enjoyed our conversation with Dr. Marcia Reynolds, Master Certified Coach and author of Breakthrough Coaching. Joseph has joined us from Ottawa. He says hello, Marcia. And then Mary says, hey, I do want to share, but how do I do this? I don't see the option. And so Joseph provided the answer. He says, Mary, look at the three dots, view the event details, and then share. So thank you for being helpful, Joseph, and thank you for being willing to share, Mary. We appreciate everyone who's joined us from around the globe and those who are able to comment and the ones that I'm able to see. I'm not able to see everything, but across LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube, grateful to have you. All of those folks who I just shared are coming to us from LinkedIn. I want to transition to something else, Marcia. Going back to your book, you said that we all are needy. What does
Yeah.
that mean?
Well, we often think of the word needy as negative, when actually, ever since you were a baby, that what you learned that would give you attention, that would give you love, has become a part of your life, and it becomes the motivator of your success. So if like for me, my dad used to stand me up on tables and made me sing songs when I was just a toddler. And so I love attention. So, like you, Eddie, I can stand on a stage in front of thousands of people and go, whoa, this is fun. And so the need for recognition of my work, and that's a part of, coming through as a woman trying to make it on this planet. But if I don't feel I'm doing significant work, then I lose my sense of self. So on the dark side is, if I'm not getting my needs met, my needs for accomplishment, for recognition, for control, then it can impact my emotions, and I do things that don't serve me. If I'm working to get my needs met, it can often be very important. My sense of control helped me to rise up in every company I ever worked for very quickly into the top leadership ranks. I saw what needed to be done and I took charge. But other people have needs for safety, for order. I lived with a physician for years, and he liked order and predictability, and I'm like all over the place. So there was a conflict. But we could talk about our conflict of needs, and make requests, which was important. When I'm also just discovered, taught part of my mastery class, is that these strong social needs also are well woven into our identity of who I am. Like people say, well, how could you build this global business? And it's like, but I've been traveling globally since the 80s, and I see myself as someone who works around the world with all different people, and I absolutely love that. That's a part of who I am. The pandemic was terrible for me because I had to sit in my house and people are saying, oh, you get to stay home. I'm like, no, 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 that's not who I
Not what you
am.
want.
So, right. And so my social needs um, are actually woven into who I think I am, for better and sometimes in the way, in the way. So really taking a look at that and then understanding how important that is to coaching. But also, when I'm coaching, I could have other needs. How many coaches say, I'm just not sure I'm being of value if I'm not giving advice? So they have a great need for value, but then they need to then redefine what value actually is, because I feel I'm doing a great service and of great value to my clients who are smart and quite capable. And I'm just helping them think and how valuable that is. So we have to redefine value. We can keep the need, but just redefine what it is. So there's so much depth to social needs in our life, of how we get them met and what happens when we don't.
So
That's
keep the need and redefine the value.
yeah. Well,
Beautiful.
to be of value. Now, life values are a little bit different. But in any interaction that I have with other people on this planet, it's the social needs that show up.
Excellent. Thank you for
Mhm.
sharing that. And that tip that Yusuf shared seemed to work about the three dots. Mary says, thank you.
Yeah.
She was very appreciative. Someone else has joined us from LinkedIn. Brenda Baird, who's also a master certified coach, says, hi, Marcia.
She's in my class.
Oh,
Yeah.
she's in your class.
In the
Okay.
mastery class. Yeah, right.
See, you're the coach's coach, not just to beginners or intermediates, but even someone at the mastery level. So that says a lot about who you are, and that's not a surprise at all. Fantastic. Marcia, there's something else I want to ask you about because oftentimes when we're thinking about coaching, and we at times may think that it's only a skill set that you need if you're going to be a professional coach. Is there a place for the skill set of coaching outside of being a coach?
Yeah. Well, even Eddie, I don't call any classes I teach leaders leader as coach anymore because we're not teaching them to be coaches. We're teaching leaders coach how to use coaching skills. And I would love for them, and this is what I teach, is just even if you just open the conversation with a coaching approach. And, when you think about it, for leaders, for parents, for friends, that if I can start by being curious about what's going on with you right now, how do you see the situation that we're facing? If there's something that needs to be changed, tell me what you think is occurring so I can understand your perspective. And never assume you know how somebody sees something because you don't. You have not lived their life. So I need to understand your perspective and what has brought you to believe the way you do. Once I do that, you're more open to hearing my perspective because you feel seen and heard and your thoughts are valued. And that's if we can just do that for each other on the planet, just that to start with, help me understand how you see things, and what makes this important for you right now to be looking at it that way and maybe doing something. I need to understand where you sit before we may even get to the conversation about what I see similar or different. So I see this as so important right now on our planet.
Well said. Well said. And that's why we say the power of coaching because it does have
Mhm.
the power to
Yeah.
change everything.
Mhm.
Well, Yusuf says one final thing that I was about to say. He says every session with Dr. Marcia
Oh,
Reynolds is a breakthrough. I could talk
thank
to
you,
you obviously
Yusuf.
for hours. What is the main message you'd like to leave those who've joined us from around the world with today?
Well, whether you're a coach or someone just interested in how can I use this to improve my communication and relationships, I just want to thank you because I do think that coaching is such an important element right now in our times that we really listen and try to understand each other instead of trying to push our ideas on others. That I just am grateful for you for wanting to deepen and bring and integrate coaching into your communications.
Fantastic.
Mm.
One last person has put their comments here from LinkedIn. An executive there in the learning
Mhm.
space from California, Todd Grider. He says everyone can
Mhm.
benefit from using curiosity, coaching skills, and empathy. I love the question. Help me understand how you see things.
Yeah, great.
Fantastic. So, Marcia, tell the few people who don't know how to find you
Mhm.
how they can find you and learn more about your work.
Sure. My website is co-visioning, one word, co-visioning.com, and all my books are listed there, my programs, and my contact. There's a contact way to contact me there. Of course, I'm on LinkedIn, so you can always find me there as well.
Excellent. And of course, on the Keep Leading podcast, I always love to get a favorite leadership quote. I'm always quoting you. So, what leadership quote does Dr. Marcia Reynolds use to help her to keep leading?
First I want to say that one of the greatest days in my life, Eddie, was when I got a Google alert that one of the quote sites, where they have pages of different people, they had made a page with me and some of my quotes, and I'm like, whoa, I've made it. I made the quote site.
You've officially made it.
Right. And it comes back to they want you to be present. Everyone wants you. Please see me. Please see me. See me, hear me, understand me, but see me. They want you to be present. They certainly don't need you to be perfect.
They want you to see them. They don't need you to be perfect. Thank you so much. I'll conclude with just the last couple of people who want to get their words in to acknowledge how they feel about what you said, Marcia. William Gaddison, he says, another great session. Keep leading live. Thank you, William. He says, thank you, Marcia, for all that you continue to do and give to this community and to the world. And finally, Sumit says, coaches like him get stuck when the client says a question he doesn't know. Oh, I guess he's asking, how do you address that? When the client says something he doesn't know. You want to answer that for us?
Real briefly,
Yes.
what? Whenever they say that, I'll look at something similar in their life. So if a new leader says, I don't know how to lead, I've never been a leader, I'll say, well, have you worked for leaders? What did you like about the leaders you work for, or what didn't you like? Because they have elements from their past that will help them determine what it is that they ought to know. That unless they're brand new to something technical, then you may give them the guidebook. But on the human side, we've all had experiences to draw from.
Excellent. Well, Marcia, thank you so much for being a guest a second time. Keep leading. I appreciate you.
Oh, thank you, Eddie. It's been delightful.
And thank you for joining us literally from around the world. Those 15 countries I read earlier and some others who may have joined that I couldn't see. It's such a privilege to have you all and be able to share this message about leadership development and insights here on Keep Leading. I'm Eddie Turner, reminding you that leadership is not about our position or our title. Leadership is an activity. Leadership is about actions. We must be a leader at our core and allow it to emanate in all that we do. So whatever you're doing, always keep leading.